So this is on North Beach on February 2nd, 2021. This is a city's pump truck that is pumping out the stormwater drain. And this is the second trip they've made in the last 10 minutes. They pump up all this sand, and it's very similar to this one right here. Let me see if I can find this one. Yeah, there's one right there. You can see this is the city's stormwater system. Right there. They think that that is solving our problem on North Beach, that somehow all the water is going to drain into there and it's all going to be fine, and they got them all clean. But as you can see, that has sand all around it. It's in the middle of a sand pit, and beyond it there's standing water that never does get to drain. Okay, so they'll probably be down here next to suck that one out, and somehow they think that sucking it out is going to solve the problem when they've got sand all over the place. Oh yeah, more standing water down there because it has nowhere to go, and there's no way, because that's lower, that it's going to go into this drain that has no curbs, no direction of how the rainwater is supposed to go. Mainly what happens is the bay backs up through that thing, and the salt water comes pouring out of that at high tide, and it floods this whole area. And for a long time, that was actually under the sand. Recently, they came and dug it out and kind of, quote, discovered that it was even there. So then we got over here. There's another one exactly like it right there that they're sucking out. And I'll go over there in a minute if I get a chance. Okay, and then here, check this out. So then at the end of this street, then you've got this truck. And guess what they're doing? They are going to, I believe, they are depositing the sand in that manhole in the street, either in the stormwater system, but I think actually in the solid waste sewer. So they're sucking up sand from the stormwater sewer and putting it in the sanitary sewer. So I'm going to pause the video and see if I can pause it. And I'll show you in just a second. Let's see. Yeah, so here I am closer so we can see what these guys are doing. Oh, now they're weed eating. Hi! So y'all are sucking it out. You're sucking it out.
Yeah, it's got a lot of sand there, but this.
Yeah. So it's coming from over here. Normally this part is all filled with water, but it's low tide right now. It's been low tide for a long time, so we don't have any standing water here, which is really unusual. As you can see, there's like all this caked mud, and this indicates, you know, there's normally water here. Of course, we're at extremely low tide right now. And the reason the tide affects this is that this thing down here, this stormwater system, actually belches salt water out of it because it's connected to the bay. It's supposed to drain into the bay. It's supposed to drain the salt water, or sorry, the rainwater into the bay. But what it does instead, most of the time, is at every high tide, anything above 1.5 feet, the salt water comes flowing backwards out of that thing and floods the street here. And then, since there's no curbs or anything to show where it's supposed to go, the flood water, the salt water, comes down here and pools right here. So we always have this standing water. And this whole street, you know, is quote unquote a street. This is actually a city street. It's got a little bit of asphalt right here. Mainly it's dirt. And, you know, this is waterfront property in Corpus Christi. And you wonder why people don't want to develop it. You know, if you look at the state of the streets and the fact that the city's not providing adequate drainage at all here. It's just like, we call it drainage in name only, where this system here, supposedly this manhole is supposedly going to absorb rainwater that falls on this street and somehow gets in there. But you're figuring, how does the rainwater actually flow and get in there? It's not lower than anything else, it's just there. So it doesn't really make any sense at all that this system is here. It's not working, it works in reverse. And all it does is, and this is the city's solution for our drainage, is they say, well, hey, we're just going to keep coming with our vacuum trucks and we're going to keep sucking this sand and this dirt out of this system. But they don't even have the interest enough to pave this area around here. I mean, don't you think if they wanted to prevent sand from getting in it, that they might think about paving this street instead of having it be dirt, and paving and that they need to basically make this into a real street, elevate it all so that the stormwater, the 2-foot tide and the 1.5-foot tide doesn't flood the street. It needs to be at least, you know, like, well, 4 or 5 feet, 4 feet. If it was 2 feet higher, and then everything could be raised up 2 feet, then that would get us out of being affected by every single high tide. Because every time the tide gets high, North Beach floods. And right now, okay, here we are in February, this is a period of low tides. But we're actually, you know, come spring, 2 months from now, this whole street will be flooded. And it just happens again and again and again and again and again. And when we get the king tides later, and they're up 3, 4 feet, 3.5 feet, then there's no way that this current stormwater system that people like City Council member Greg Smith and City Manager Peter Zanoni and the Streets Department Director Richard Martinez, they say that everything's fine. We got it all fixed. We got a solution. It's all working. Well, when the tide's low, yeah, okay, I guess you can spend all this money and effort to bring these trucks over to suck the sand out. You know, it seems kind of like a Band-Aid to me. It doesn't seem like a very good engineering plan. So instead, well, what could they do instead? Well, instead, the whole canal plan that you've heard about, the canal plan would be at the end of this road, like past that white car, you keep going, the next block, there would be a canal dug. And it's at a high point. So all this area around here would be elevated up higher. So this would get us out of that flood zone, get us out of that area that is where the tide, it's affected by tides. So you just get above your normal high tide, which is, you know, the king tides are like 3.5. So you want to be up above that, and then if you could get as high as that canal is down there, then you can actually just not even have underground sewer. And you could just drain the stormwater straight down the street through gutters, drain it right into the canal, and you wouldn't have to have any of this underground pipes that get clogged with sand because we're on a beach and because, you know, the elevation is challenged. So the whole answer to North Beach is elevating it. I mean, it's been here 100 years. They developed this neighborhood in 1920. It's been here 100 years, and it's always had problems with flooding, but it's just gotten worse and worse. And now we're in the year 2020, I mean, they have all kinds of improvements in engineering and in ways of doing things. And this is a 1920s system that we've got going here. I mean, this actual pipe here that they're cleaning out, this was put in 1977 when the state put in this beach back here. They put in the beach, and as you can see, it's higher. So it used to be that the rain flowed down this street and went across that beach. But now that the beach is there and it's real high, you can't drain that way anymore. The state won't let them. That's why in 1977, the city had to come in here and put in this pipe, this stormwater system that's under the ground, right? It runs up towards that white car, and then it makes a T and runs north and south, and it goes, this stormwater here, for some reason, is supposed to run uphill, and then it's supposed to go north about half a mile, at least, to the north end where it joins with the bay. So that's the plan, but it actually doesn't work in reality. It just doesn't work, because it's not engineered correctly. It never was. The city did it real quick, cheap and dirty back in 1977 so they could get their new beach put in. So the point is, this is all messed up, and this is how the city's working on it. And actually, the city staff is lying to council and telling them that it's all fixed and that there's not a problem here. And then our city leaders are making decisions based on that information that they're getting from their city staff, from their director of the streets, and the city manager are telling them this is fine, and it's not. And that's why the canal project, oh God, now what are they doing? That's why we need to move forwards with that canal project, to just see what that engineering says, to get the cost, to see if it's a viable solution. That's why we want the city council to move to phase 2 of the plan and fund that, and let's go forwards.